This is an opinion piece from Politico, and Paul DuPont, you'll be following me after I read some excerpts from this wonderful article from Politico. No, coronavirus isn't proof we need socialism. To America's democratic socialists, the coronavirus pandemic means one clarifying obvious thing. America doesn't have enough democratic socialism. Basically, this author is ripping into democratic socialism and Bernie Sanders. The coronavirus is a national security threat to America. The corporate run for profit healthcare system is exacerbating the threat. This is a quote from Bernie Sanders. Medicare for all is a weapon to combat the threat. The pandemic is not about public health or the economy to socialists, but capitalism itself, said Naomi Klein on the Intercept podcast. This crisis, and not only the pandemic, but the economic crisis that has been set off and that we're still in the grips of. The crash oil prices and political crisis of all of it is laying bare to the extreme injustice and inequalities of our economic and social system. But the author says this, yet that was not clear for the primary voters in Arizona, Florida, and Illinois who voted to bury Bernie's revolution in overwhelming numbers in the middle of pandemic. Still, do the socialists have a point? Is there something about the pandemic that will, over the course of the next several months, persuade more Americans to embrace his agenda? The evidence for that is thin. Okay, and again, real quick, throughout this entire primary, from the beginning in Iowa, there was a lack of election integrity, election accountability, and, votes are missing. And here in the state of Illinois, probably my vote, Paul's vote, Daniel's vote, Jerome's vote for Bernie Sanders disappeared. It's not there. Who knows what happened to our votes? Because we live in a country where we lack election integrity, and the DNC can make the rules up as they go along. So I find it questionable that the author of this article is basically saying, well, the voters decided last Tuesday that they don't want Bernie's revolution. Are we sure? How many people did show up? How many polling stations were shut down? And more importantly, why were these primaries still held in the midst of a pandemic when the governor should have done what the governor in Ohio did, and that is postpone the primaries? But hang on, it gets worse, folks. And democratic socialists have yet to convince the public that they know how to manage a government as well as they can criticize one. Some democratic socialists see the Republicans' surprisingly eager embrace of massive government stimulus as a sign that the winds have shifted in their favor. On Thursday, Sanders press secretary Brianna Joy Gray said in a campaign video, people who have long opposed Bernie's Medicare for All plan and his New Deal social programs now support a suite of solutions to the corona crisis, which could accurately be described as socialist. But we are not seeing a bipartisan consensus for socialism. We are seeing a bipartisan consensus for a robust Kenyanism, a stimulus in response to a sudden economic crisis. That's not nothing in these polarizing times. And again, the author mentions like how Barack Obama began his presidency with a near $1 trillion stimulus proposal and the blunt of the impact of the global market. But again, what the author is writing in here is just how it can't work, how socialism is a failure, and that everyone's just howling at the moon. The real issue is that right now you have people that will not have health care. You have people who will not be able to pay their rent. You have people who will not be able to pay for anything. And we have a system that's failing and falling apart. So again, my question is this. When there are people out there on the streets, when there are people out there starving, when there are people out there, especially we get 30% unemployment in this country, what would the author's proof or evidence then saying that socialism cannot work, or at least democratic socialism cannot work? Because if we compare us to other countries have a strong social safety net. We don't. People are left on their own, and they're saying that, oh, we need to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps. No, we have no bootstraps to pull ourselves up. Paul.
Yeah, sorry, I've got a ray of sunshine coming into my room, so I'm trying to dodge light.
All right.
Look at this, though. They spend so much time just trying to prop up Cuomo. He says Cuomo read the room better than Sanders and his fellow socialists. As ideologues, democratic socialists see a crisis and immediately move to exploit the crisis in order to advance their ideology. But most people in the middle of a crisis just want their leaders to address the crisis, not exploit it. It's just like, how dare you point out that you were right this whole time? How dare you try to convince people that you were right about things by being proven right? It's time to just do things. And don't you see how Cuomo was so good at wagging his finger at Trump and being decisive, and how he's all a governor and stuff? Look, not being a governor, Sanders isn't in a position to bend any bureaucracy to his will. You didn't do anything because you're not a governor. That's why nobody should want you to be president, or governor for that matter, because you aren't already a governor. Like, this piece is dumb. Like he just takes every opportunity to be like, oh, the guys in the middle, Cuomo, he did so good. And later on down here, he's talking about, oh, look, compare the coronavirus response plans from Sanders to Joe Biden. Sanders' plan has 3 prongs. First of which is empower Medicare to lead healthcare response. Sanders eyes taking Medicare with providing universal emergency health care to coverage for all. And of course, once you do that, you're halfway to establishing Sanders' end goal of Medicare for all. How nefarious and nasty of him to want to have emergency health care services that could lay the groundwork and prove that his ideas work and are worthwhile. How dare he? And it goes on to basically say, look, Biden's plan digs into what bureaucracy can actually do. Okay, so he's bureaucratic and he's gonna, have mobile testing sites. He's gonna tell the CDC to do mobile testing sites. That's the big plan. That's the big plan and what bureaucracy can actually do. See that? He's gonna have mobile testing sites. We'll figure out how to get people to pay for them and which insurance is covered and how much money we can make off of it. Got to make sure that people still make mobile testing sites. Great idea.
Yeah.
Biden's got it. This guy that wants Medicare for all and wants to have emergency healthcare mobilization throughout the country. Screw that guy. Screw that guy. He doesn't know. He just trying to use this as an ideological, input. Just because his ideology works really well with solving this issue, we can't let him solve it. It'll make his ideology look good. This is circular reasoning. This this opinion piece is ridiculous.
Yeah. So I just wanted to say that I tried to take this article seriously, but the writer's not a governor, so I really couldn't.
Oh, there you go.
So I just want to point out, this is like, you're right. This is what it looks like when they're like, oh my God. They realize that, everything Sanders has put out, every policy that he's made would be really useful right now. And I love that they're going through the entire thing. They're like, it's not a rose. It's just a flower that's covered in petals and it smells good. And we'll remind them, a rose by any other name is still a rose. They're like, the things that they're doing aren't socialist, even though they are. When Obama did it, it wasn't socialist, even though it was. It's very funny for them to go, this entire election we just had, you can't have socialism. We're a capitalist country. You can't do socialism, you dirty communist. Oh, yeah, we need this socialism to bail out the country because it's really important that we do that because it's really useful for that kind of thing. It's not socialism, though. Promise. I'm a governor.
Again, this is the madness that we're living in.
By the way, just for the rest of this, I'm changing my title from CEO to governor. So now I can say whatever I want.
Anything you want.
And now I can do whatever I want.
You're so respected now.
Go mobilize resources, everyone.
All right, we're on it. Wait, do we have to follow any rules and regulations?
Oh, no, I'm not talking to you guys. I'm talking to all the people in chat and all the people specifically at CNN.
Oh, wow. Hey, all right. There we go.
I'm a governor. I can do that. That's what the article said.
I guess so at this point, even though, here's the thing. Biden has been hidden for, since March 17th. Only recently, yesterday, did he come out of his little hiding hole and talk to the people. And that was it. That's all he did, was just, give platitudes. I mean, this is the guy that's going to beat Trump. And corporate media throughout 2019 was saying that it was inevitable, that Biden has what it takes. Seeing this crisis and this economic crisis that we're going to be in, Biden's going to be eaten alive. And I don't want to see another Trump presidency, but if we even have a Biden presidency, like I said before, it will be stagnant. What will it offer? Will it help the people? And the answer is no. It will be another Obama hope and change kind of thing. And we all saw what happened when we had that hope and change. We were just cast aside. Obama was just a Republican. That's it.
By the way, I want to point out, Biden's not a governor either. You know who is kind of a governor? Donald Trump. That's kind of the king. President's like king of the governors. Let's be real at this point. So if anything, this article, you could tell I'm really hung up on this. This article is really arguing Trump should be reelected, if you think about it, with the due amount of respect the article deserves. From a guy who's not even a governor.
Yeah. But hey, this is corporate media. They're the ones who tell us, hey, we got to fall in line. We got to stop Trump. And we got to vote blue no matter who.
And by the way, on that note, if you have watched corporate media or have friends who might watch it, older friends perhaps, and we know we have a wonderful cast of people in our chat, ask how many of them had any inkling this was going to happen until it happened, versus people that watched us, other shows on the internet, which have been saying this is going to be coming for at least a year.
Yeah. We've been talking about this for a very long time. And again, now all of us are suffering because of it, because of a lack of foresight from our governors, from our elected leaders, from our president, from Congress, from the Senate. I mean, these people just don't know what they're doing.